The Seventh-day Adventist Church in the South Pacific spans 19 countries and territories, with more than 80% of members living in Papua New Guinea and the Pacific Islands. Despite this diversity, we are united in our mission to create a thriving disciple-making movement. God is doing amazing things in this region of 42 million people. Disciple-making is the focus of our strategy. The ministry of Jesus provides the model for multiplying disciples, planting churches, and building a movement. Discipleship underpins our other major church initiatives in media, health, and mission to the cities.
The South Pacific Division has achieved significant growth in the past quinquennium, including 49,000 baptisms in 2020, defying a trend of decreasing baptisms around the world.
This was largely due to the discipleship activities in the Papua New Guinea and Trans-Pacific Unions, who faithfully followed the disciple-making models of preparing the soil, sowing the seed, cultivating the plants, harvesting the crop, and multiplying the harvest, a model outlined by Jesus in Mark chapter 4.
In Papua New Guinea, churches were closed due to the lockdown, but people were able to gather in small groups. Members followed a simple disciple-making strategy known as the Discovery Bible Reading Method to lead small group discussions. As more people got to know the biblical truths, small groups multiplied into new church plants throughout the region. Thousands publicly declared their commitment to Jesus through baptism.
I worked for a large construction company as a building supervisor. After running that group in my home, I decided to bring that idea to my workplace. It had a very big impact on my boys. I know an old blind man called Benige. I found out he lived in a makeshift sort of house. I had this idea of building a house. I went and discussed that with my boys. They got excited and they voluntarily put their hand up to help me.
I believe Jesus, my Savior. I trust in Him. One day He returns, I go with Him.
The global changes placed upon us pushed media to the forefront of our discipleship work. While lockdowns brought many challenges, the church responded creatively.
Church services and prayer meetings went online. Training workshops, kids clubs, health sessions and community meetups have moved forward in the digital space.
We Are the Church launched during the 2020 lockdown to bring our church family together to hear stories from across the division and encourage each other with prayer and reports of missional progress. Media has also been an important tool for sharing Jesus with the masses. Digital platforms have been used for evangelistic campaigns and Bible studies. Teams of digital Bible workers have connected with people online. Television continues to play a key role. Hope Channel Fiji is the only 24-hour Christian TV station in the country. During lockdown, it launched Hope at Home, which was watched by thousands of people on TV and social media. Hope Channel New Zealand is also on free-to-air TV and has a monthly viewership of 160,000 people. Having gratefully received the 13th Sabbath offering in the third quarter of 2016, Hope Channel was able to purchase new equipment and produce local programs such as the popular Finding Home series. Radio is also being used to connect with our diverse and isolated communities with the support of Adventist World Radio. Hope Radio is broadcasting in Papua New Guinea and Fiji. In Kiribati, one of the world's smallest and isolated countries, the New Hope radio station has the Kiribati president tuning in and listeners are coming to church. In Australia, Faith FM is being broadcast in around 220 locations, including in remote outback communities with the same results.
Health is opening up new frontiers for disciple making. Since 2015, we have run health expos in the Solomon Islands, Fiji, and Papua New Guinea with incredible results. Many have attended our follow-up initiatives and asked for Bible studies.
Our health message has become so well regarded that we've even run CHIP programs in tourist resorts, and their chefs have asked for our vegetarian recipes. Alongside CHIP, the Community Health Education Program is training church members to present health and lifestyle messages to their local communities.
Many of our Pacific countries are facing a crisis with lifestyle diseases, especially type 2 diabetes. So, we've launched the 10,000 Toes campaign, supported by ADRA, training ambassadors in lifestyle prevention and enabling churches to become health centers and help with diagnosis and prevention programs.
The medical missionary work is a door opener. It breaks down prejudices with other people. And a good example is one such village. This is a big village. And years ago, the members of our church wanted to build a church on the side of the village, but we were not allowed to. We were actually virtually chased to go outside of the village. So the church was built about 3 miles from this village. And during the outbreak of these NCDs, non-communicable diseases, people in the village started to get sick with diabetes, with obesity, with heart problems. The chief of the village himself and the wife had some health issues. So the very first people that they could turn to, because they've heard about the Seventh-day Adventists going into villages, doing health assessments, and the various wellness centers that are helping out in their various villages. So they invited our health team to come into the village. We were given a whole hall where we could do health assessments. We were invited into his house. We got their blood sugars and their blood readings done, and they were so happy that they have offered their village to become a health-promoting village, where we now have 2 health workers working full-time in the village and going house to house, helping people out that are sick and people that need help.
Changing lives every day through whole person health is the purpose of the Sanitarium Health and Wellbeing Group. Sanitarium Weet-Bix is Australia and New Zealand's most trusted breakfast cereal, and with Sanitarium Up and Go, they lead the breakfast category. Sanitarium has a deep social commitment, illustrated by Breakfast at School and the world's largest kids triathlon event. With its mission of Christianity in action, Sydney Adventist Hospital is transforming lives by caring for the whole person, their physical, mental, and spiritual needs. The SAN is known for its state-of-the-art technology and patient-focused care, with a world-class reputation in cancer treatment.
Building relationships and connecting with people in our major cities has also been a focus of ongoing mission.
In Australia and New Zealand, 86% of people live in the cities. Many are living in apartments or secure buildings, so connecting with them is not easy. So, we've been coming up with new ways of ministering in urban places, aimed at building relationships and strengthening the sense of community. Creating centers of influence is an approach that is working well in our big cities. In Auckland, New Zealand, projects such as community gyms and food drives are all about focusing on the health and well-being of city residents. Education is another important ministry area that remains active and influential in transforming lives for Jesus. When we introduce our students to the value of God's wisdom and His Word, their performance improves in all aspects.
I realized that my students were not doing well, so I decided to use the Bible to see if that can make a difference. We decided to ask schools to have at least 30 minutes in the timetable for students to read and summarize. And it did wonders for my students.
At first, I didn't know how to spell words and did my Bible summary, and then I started improving in my handwriting and in my spelling of words.
And as they start reading the Bible, they develop the attitude, the behavior.
My attitude changed towards them, and one day they told me that, oh, you changed from your behaviors, and that's really good. And I'm like, really? And they said, yeah, that's good. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I think it's because of the Bible summary and because God changed me. So I'm thankful that God sent some people to give us Bible summary to do it in our school.
It has helped me to dig deeper into the Word of God, helped me to study the Word even better than I was before I was introduced to the Bible summary. When I started asking those WH questions, it began to open up the Bible to me. It was like a treasure that I had to dig up out from the ground, and I began exploring things that I never knew were in the Bible.
We decided to go to the rest of the country, where we introduced it to all our Adventist high schools, and maybe I should add that the government schools have also picked up on that. We're also sharing that with the government schools, with the same results. I think the most exciting part of this is the fact that we found that it also helped change behaviors. And when you see students walking into the water of baptism, that's an exciting thing we don't want to miss.
Across the division, 70,000 World Changer Bibles have been distributed for personal Bible study, along with resources that equip and encourage students to become disciple makers. At Pacific Adventist University in Papua New Guinea, students have been busy planting churches on and off campus. In Australia, Avondale University is transforming lives through weeks of worship and service projects. In fact, Avondale University Church has experienced the largest number of baptisms in North New South Wales Conference.
God has blessed His work in the South Pacific, and many have come to know Him despite the global challenges that we all have faced. By God's grace and power, we will become a thriving Adventist movement, living our hope in Jesus and transforming the Pacific.